points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
For 5 years running, it's the OD and the AL with Jeff Symbieta and JJ Bach.
Well, overreact and go, because there's quite a bit to overreact to. Another typical weekend, or was it, where, I mean, if you're in a survivor pool, you're probably not anymore. If you're betting, it's tough. And if you're a fan of teams, boy, oh boy, oh boy. Things that you didn't see come and came, it's certainly in the magnitude in which they happened, both in the college and the NFL game. Good morning to you. Happy Monday. A little autumnal outside this morning. A little cool rain this morning. Week 2 of the NFL's in the books. Week 3 of the college football season now away. Well, almost in the books. You got Monday Night Football tonight, Falcons and Eagles. Opening drive, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck. How you living?
What it do?
All right, then. How's the weekend?
Busy.
Yeah? Yeah, put a few miles on the couch?
Working.
Yeah, attaboy. Yeah, you were in here. Lobo football, you had pregame, halftime, postgame. Pregame, you were optimistic. Halftime, you were... I listened. I was in the car at halftime. You guys were really optimistic. Ned told me, I think maybe 15, could be 17 times that they got to catch the ball.
Yes.
A little critical of the wide receivers. And then it got away from them in the second half. If you're into that thing, they cover the spread. They're 3-0 against the spread. If you're into those sort of victories. 45-19. Auburn beat the Lobos. Almost the same score the Saints beat the Cowboys. 44-19.
How about them boys?
How about them Cowboys? Starting the NFL. Bronco Mendenhall due to be with us coming up at 9 o'clock this morning. We will get you there on Lobo Football, and we'll take your calls on that. I don't know if you're ready to tell me the Saints offense is real, but I don't know what more you need to see. You weren't going to be impressed because they beat Carolina. Okay, that's fine. This was that Dallas defense that was so dominating after week 1, and that they're back because they went into Cleveland and they stifled the Browns. And all I heard was, they're back and look at the Cowboys. And Alvin Kamara said, thank you very much. And if you had him on your fantasy team, you were thrilled. Alvin Kamara went for 4 touchdowns. The Saints did what they wanted to Dallas. And this is an alarming loss for Dallas. And hello, New Orleans. Because as you went through and told me about the best teams in the NFC, I don't think there's one person, and maybe you're not ready yet, that mentioned the New Orleans Saints.
We can mention the Saints and the Buccaneers in the same breath because they can win a division.
They're both 2-0.
And be a problem in the playoffs, because with the New Orleans Saints, Derek Carr's aggressive. He's pushing the football downfield. He has 2 legit playmakers in the passing game. Alvin Kamara looks strong, fast, and this is a New Orleans team that it's not a fluke.
No.
They will score points. They're not going to score 40 points every game. They're going to be aggressive and push football downfield. New offensive coordinator has brought new life to Derek Carr.
He looks good. He looks like he's making good decisions, and he's got playmakers.
They scored points on the first 16 possessions of the season.
Isn't that insane? Yeah, I mean, it's
back-to-back games. I get that teams are bad, but the first 16 possessions through Carolina and Dallas, they scored points.
Is Dallas bad? Is Dallas' defense bad? I mean, a week ago today, we were talking about how good they were.
I think with all this, you have to put in perspective. And they were not good just because they beat a Browns team that only scored 16 points against the Jaguars on Sunday. But they played a good football game on the road, game one. Managed the game.
Yep.
You come back, and you realize that defensively, they have taken some steps back with Mike Zimmer at coordinator. Some of the players that you expected to play big, they are shredded there. And it's all eyes are going to be on Dak Prescott and his new contract. But that's a defense in 2 of their last 3 games against the good opponents they've played. They've given up over 40 points. You go back to the playoffs last year against the Packers.
So that's a problem, no matter who's there. All right, Cowboy fan, let's go. Because it's one thing to get beat. And if New Orleans, and by the way, you talked about New Orleans and Tampa Bay. Yeah, they can win a division. They haven't won a division game yet, and they're both 2-0. They're winning outside of the division. Tampa Bay, what they did yesterday, winning in Detroit, is pretty freaking impressive. Detroit is one of those 2 teams, basically, that people were saying could win the NFC, right? It was Detroit and it was San Francisco. And Detroit got beat at home by Tampa Bay. Like at some point, we're going to have to start giving Tampa Bay some credit, too. And maybe Baker Mayfield found his spot, and 5 touchdown passes with a 6 on the ground is the most ever for him to start a season. Maybe at some point we start saying, maybe they're just not the best of that crappy little division, but they're outside beating everybody else. Now, maybe it's not yet, and I'm okay if you're not there yet. Okay, it's a 2-week sample. But if these 2 teams keep winning until they run into each other, I mean, let's see what the Saints do with the Eagles next week. They get the Eagles, Falcons, Chiefs before they get each other. All right, you're not ready to tell me they're great yet. I don't blame you. I'm not ready to tell you they're great yet either. The Saints, but they're scoring points.
Dude, you can say it. You don't have to be great. You have to get to the playoffs and win games.
Yeah.
And that can put you in the position to play in an NFC championship.
And these games early count. These games early are going to count when you start saying who wins the division, who gets a home playoff. Yeah, hell yes, they will. Buccaneers beat the Lions. Now they get the Broncos, and then the Eagles, Falcons, Saints, Ravens. What are the Ravens? We'll get there. Let me give you phone numbers to get in today. 505-246-0610. I mean, finding biggest winners and losers this week is tough because there's a lot of both. 505-246-0610. Emails Jeff at sportsanimалabq.com. Emails this morning, Jeff at, I just gave you that, Jeff at sportsanimалabq.com, JJ at sportsanimалabq.com, Twitter, _JJ Buck. If you're not following JJ, I mean, you should be. It's a great follow. There's great stuff all the time. Get on the X and follow him, and then you can watch the show on our Facebook page, The OD in the AM. I want to just glance over some stuff, and then we'll go further in depth. I mean, obviously, Cowboy fan, let's go. You got Brandon Aubrey. He's really good. He's a hell of a weapon. But you got to score touchdowns.
A lot of empty yards, struggling in the red zone, in the run game, reared its ugly head. They didn't have any explosiveness, any confidence in that. And then the two turnovers in the passing game.
All right. The other local, end quote, team, Broncos couldn't score. And Bo Nix put up 246 yards. I could hear Ned James screaming at my TV, catch the ball. You got to catch the ball. How many drops did they have? Now, look, he throws the ball. He's a rookie. He's an accurate Bo Nix. 20 for 35, 246, and 2 interceptions. But how many drops did they have? I mean, just look at your tight end alone. Dulcich had 8 targets, 3 receptions. What do you have, 3 drops? 4 drops? I mean, look, I don't know how you feel coming out of this. You got to feel not good because you lose the game and you're 0-2 and you're the Broncos and okay, fine. Defensively, it feels like they're pretty good. Although I'm not sure what Pittsburgh is. Although
the Pittsburgh offense is bad,
but they're 2-0. Yeah. Like just find ways to win games, right?
Because their defense is that good. That's why Mike Tomlin was okay with Russell Wilson being quarterback when no one else likes him. He's like, just don't mess it up.
Yeah.
And that's what Justin Fields has done. He hasn't messed it up.
Do you bench him when Russ is ready? Justin Fields, 13 for 20, 117 yards and a touchdown. He didn't turn the ball over, and he ran the ball for 27 yards. And they're 2-0. Do you bench the guy at 2-0?
Mike Tomlin will.
Okay. And then what happens? They go out and lose to Tampa Bay, and then
They don't play musical chairs at quarterback because he's done it before, and he doesn't care.
but you're winning
those
now.
guys.
You're like, that's my point. Is you're winning now in a division where Cincinnati's 0-2, the Browns are 1-1, and
the Ravens are 0-2.
And the Ravens are 0-2. Like, you better get rich now before they figure it out. Bengals seemed to find something yesterday. Damn near, I mean, you can make an argument they should have won the game, and they didn't win the game against Kansas City because, well, it's Kansas City. I mean, I don't know who's the best team in the North. We were talking about how great that division is. Who's the best team in the North? Cincinnati, Baltimore, Cleveland, Pittsburgh. Baltimore's in trouble, dude.
Cincinnati.
Okay, they're 0-2.
Like, you ask me who do I think long term?
Yeah. No, and you might be right. They're 0-2. They played really well yesterday.
I think it's going to be
Kansas
the
City.
same thing for the Steelers. Or find their way in somehow, some way, but that offense is not good enough to win a playoff game.
All right. But I look at their next, like they're 2-0. Can they beat the Chargers at home next week?
Yeah.
The Chargers aren't doing anything impressive. You know, they're running the ball well. Can they beat the Colts the next week?
Yep.
Cowboys?
Yep.
Raiders?
Yep.
Jets, Giants? Commandos? That's their schedule coming up.
Okay. And then when Patrick Mahomes doesn't have their side.
No.
When Josh
Look, I'm
Allen
not
doesn't
telling
have
you they're winning the Super Bowl. I mean, we're talking about the division. And I'm looking at them, and I don't know, they're finding ways to win games, and the other guys are finding ways to lose games. Ravens are in trouble, dude. Don't you think? That's a bad loss. Up by 10 in the fourth quarter. Raiders had lost their last 49 straight games, went down double digits in the fourth quarter. Did you know that? 49 straight games down double digits in the fourth quarters. They're on the road, West Coast team going east, and they go into Baltimore, and they beat Baltimore with Gardner freaking Minshew as their quarterback. And at some point, look, you got to start talking about that offensive line, Baltimore.
How about the defense?
You got to talk about their
Double-digit lead in the fourth quarter at home.
Yeah.
Couldn't close it out.
I guess Gardner Minshew and the Raiders. And, yeah. All right, there's so much. We're going to hit them all. I'll get winners and losers. Aggie fan, dude, those two teams met 3 games ago in a bowl game, didn't they? I mean, I guess it wasn't that close in the bowl game, but it wasn't 48-0. Ouch. Lobo fan, let's get in on your game as well. We had an interesting college football over the weekend. Georgia barely escaped. Interesting stuff in the Mountain West Conference. Colorado State talking a whole bunch. Bronco Mendenhall due to be with us at 9 o'clock this morning. The Lobo head football coach will get with him. It's the opening drive, 505-246-0610. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck, glad you're with us on a Monday morning on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Hey, it's Rich Eisen here. Join me and my compadre, Chris.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Seriously? You expect me to drive while you aren't wearing seatbelts?
What's the worst that can happen?
Seriously? Buckle up.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm David C. Chavis, personal injury attorney. Our law firm was founded by my father, Thibaut J. Chavez, with one goal: to get New Mexicans the help they need. That's why we built a different kind of law firm. We focus on family values, dedicated service, and we make a real contribution by giving back to our communities. We can't change what happened to you or your loved ones, but we can help you get back on the road to recovery. We're by your side, and we're still as local as red and green.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
We've been trained, conditioned, and rewarded for doing more. But people weren't designed for all that doing. Our bodies need to settle into nothing from time to time. Into nothing at all. In a world obsessed with doing more, we invite you to undo.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2410 888-866-20 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
34-19 at home to the Saints. I mean, every part of that as you go through it. Cowboys lose. All right, that's no. Okay. At home. Oh, that's more alarming. To the Saints. Whoa, really? 44-19. Holy bleep, what the hell happened? Right? Every little part of it. Cowboy fan, like, are you the team that beat Cleveland on the road, or are you the team that just got paddled in your own crib? 505-246-0610. Bronco fan, you have no offense. You played a team with no offense. I think your defense is good. I think the Broncos played last week.
Seattle.
All right. And look, Seattle's 2-0. We'll find out as we go. Late games. Arizona, dude. And I don't know if they're very good or they're not. They lost back east last week. Who'd they lose to? Somebody. Buffalo, that's right. The Rams are, they may be done. The Rams have no offensive line. The Rams, both wide receivers are hurt. Their quarterback seems to be hurt. And Kyler Murray picked them apart like a Thanksgiving turkey. How about Kyler Murray yesterday?
How about
he found his receiver?
The Rams, looking at Marvin Harrison Jr., I only had one catch week one. We don't have to guard him.
Good Lord.
2 touchdowns in the first quarter. Kyler Murray looks fantastic. Just that's what you want to see from Kyler Murray. Keeping the play alive enough, keeping his eyes downfield, letting it go. He's really good with his legs. The run game was fantastic. The Rams were shredded defensively.
489 yards, 41 points, 100 yards plus for Marvin Harrison Jr. James Conner went nuts. You know, this is where the one time where fantasy football can kind of help ease the pain. When your team gets beat 41-10, you're like, yeah, but I got their quarterback. The other guy's quarterback.
It can help.
It's like the only time, right?
Arizona, this is what we were expecting.
JJ.
Was Kyler Murray, the offense, to be good. What are they going to do defensively? Well, it's 2 weeks. It's still kind of up in the air because they got by Josh Allen in the second half last week on the road. But goodness, it's took advantage of a Rams team that's losing pieces left and right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sit here and tell you anybody's done after 2 weeks. But there's some 0-2 teams where you're
Carolina's
just going,
done.
All right, Carolina. Will they score?
Broncos are done.
You think the Broncos are done?
Yeah.
Are the Rams done?
But it's like, what were the expectations anyway? You just wanted to see, like, you know,
those two teams. The Rams, are the Rams done?
I don't want to say it, but we have to wait and see on Cooper Kupp. Puka Nacua, they're saying, you know, it's going to be longer than just an 4-week IR stay.
They get the Niners next week.
Line that's
they get the Niners next week.
up.
They can't beat the Niners. They don't ever beat the Niners. They gotta.
Can they trade for Sam Darnold?
Sam Darnold could beat the Niners. I that was where I'm going next, by the way. They're in trouble, man. If the Ravens lose to the Cowboys next week, are they done? I guess you're never going to say they're done, right? As long as that guy's healthy. There's some teams early you're just looking at, but the Rams are in trouble. How about your boy Sam Darnold? Minnesota 23, San Francisco 17. Vikings looked really, really, really good. Defensively, they looked terrific, pressuring Brock Purdy, and then getting 407 yards of offense and watching Sam Darnold, who was sitting in their building all year last year. And the stones on Kevin O'Connell and that team, biggest play of that game, and they got 97 of his 268 yards, backed all the way up in their own end zone, and they chuck it deep to Justin Jefferson, and they get the 97-yarder out of it. And that was biggest play of the game. They stood there toe-to-toe, and Minnesota is 2-0 with Sam Darnold at quarterback.
This is a very concerning game for San Francisco because they gave up that big play, but they also had an interception on Sam Darnold driving in. They forced an Aaron Jones fumble right there at the goal line. and they got nothing out of it. Brock Purdy just lost the football. Brock Purdy didn't look like this dude ready to give $250 million to.
Man, that was his, and he still threw for 319 yards, but that was probably the just the eye test when it matters. Probably his worst game that I've seen him play. Now I'm not ready to pull his money and restart a quarterback because he played a bad game on the road. And I'm not sure. I think it's a trend because they started out the season and they beat the Jets and beat them handily. But
I think it just kind of goes back to the one unknown with Purdy is in these situations, can he bring you back versus just being the guy that keeps everything humming?
I think that's fair. When you're playing from ahead, it's really comfortable. And they
were ahead, yeah. Didn't have to do too much.
They tend to play from ahead. I mean, typically they tend to be playing from ahead. Their defense is really good. And, yeah, that can't be right, dude. I'm sorry. I'm just looking at a stat. Julio Ramos became the first right-hander to ever hit a home run into McCovey Cove. No right-hander has ever hit the ball into McCovey Cove. It's at the Giants Stadium.
Well, that's pretty gigantic opposite field power.
It is. Right. I mean, Bonds used to do it all the time. I mean, that's all right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go off. It's just like every once in a while you see a stat and it's like, no way. Yeah, they're always playing from ahead. The Niners are always playing from ahead. They weren't yesterday. They got beat. What game have I not hit on for you yet? Cleveland. I think there's more about Jacksonville, man. Again, Jacksonville. JJ. At what point?
It's always going to disappoint you. If you're a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, if you just take a step back going, I think I see this team taking a step forward. Trevor Lawrence locked in. Doug Peterson. They will always disappoint.
They've scored 30 points in 2 weeks. They're 0-2. Now, granted, they've only given up 48, but they're 0-2. They gave up 20 and 18. That's 38. That's only 38. Sorry. At what point are we going to start?
The Browns.
At what point? And
they let at least the Browns be competent
offensively.
They only give, like you said, they only gave up 16 points.
Yeah.
But that offense
18.
with Trevor Lawrence.
18.
Because they had the safety at the end. My bad. Yeah. That was last play.
Yeah.
The offense with the Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence.
Didn't Etienne fumble going in?
I don't know if he fumbled again. That was week 1.
That was week 1. Sorry.
Yeah.
It was Aaron Jones who fumbled.
There's
always somebody fumbling.
There's someone fumbling at the goal line. It happened.
Yeah.
It happened to Josh Jacobs fumbled at the goal line.
That was my other guy that fumbled going in. Yeah.
Could have had an even bigger game.
That was my
I can't
guy.
wait to talk about that game. I love
That's
that
my
game
dude.
From the Packers with what they did with Malik Willis. It was straight out of college football.
I'd have had high score in the week. Well, I mean, still.
But there's people that want to keep trying to talk up the Jaguars. I've been one of them.
I've been trying to.
I have nothing left to say.
So the Trevor Lawrence experiment. I mean, at some point, when are we going to go, And it's now, isn't it? It's got to be now.
Because these are the things with the quarterbacks. We want more out of them, but you still know like these guys are good enough to compete.
Well, you also know they're going to be there forever because they paid him $1 million, $1 50, 60, 70.
He re-upped. He was one of those quarterbacks that just
one of the first guys. Yeah. He's a $250 million guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I watched a $230 million quarterback go up against another $230 million quarterback, and they put up an 18-13.
Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence.
So the quarterbacks who got paid. That's really good yesterday. Deshaun Watson, 18 points. Trevor Lawrence, 13 points. Daniel Jones, 18 points because he got paid. $40 million is paid still a year, isn't it? Lamar Jackson, 23 points. Aaron Rodgers, 24 points. Dak Prescott, 19 points. Brock Purdy hadn't got paid yet. Goff, 16 points. It's kind of crazy, man. Stafford, 10 points. Yeah. Those are your dudes who got paid. Maybe defenses are pretty good, too.
Football.
It's nuts. All right, tell me about the Green Bay game because Malik Willis is your quarterback. Now, to me, and I'll tell you what I think, and I'm really interested in what you think.
Well, we need to take this break.
All right. And then we'll go into that game?
Packers Colts take, and breaking NFL news right now.
Right now? Oh, yes, there is. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 630 Sports Animal.
This report is brought to you by Sandia.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit HansWhitlerAuto.com.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
Turbo Threads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. Turbo Threads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for Turbo Threads.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach. My teacher. My older sisters. My grandma. My brother. My tutor. My dad and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
All right, what was your game that stands out? Was it the Texans and the Bears last night, 19-13? Was it the Cowboy game? Let's go. 505-246-0610. Time to get in and rehash a crazy. You can get in on the college football too. Bronco Mendenhall is going to be with us coming up at 9 o'clock. We'll talk to him about that. You really like the Packers game, huh? The Green Bay Packers win again, 16-10. Malik Willis is the quarterback, and the 2-0 Green Bay Packers, without Jordan Love, survived 1 week, and they didn't ask him to do much. 12 of 14, 122 yards, but they got a big game out of Josh Jacobs, 32 carries. They're riding that pony now. 32 carries, 151 yards. He fumbled at the goal line, did not score a touchdown. Your leading scorer, I mean, I don't. Did they even target Christian Watson? Did he play yesterday? But how about the defense for Green Bay, holding Anthony Richardson and that offense to just 10 points?
This is why I love sports, the game of football, because this was such a specific game plan. Like, you had to do a complete 180. Jordan Love gets hurt. You have Malik Willis, who plays quarterback, but if you have to rely on him to throw the football, it's going to be a bad day. And they were able to muster up a run game that was unbelievable. And Indianapolis could not stop it, and that's all they were doing, was giving the ball to Josh Jacobs. 237 yards of rushing in the first half in an NFL game. It's an NFL defense. Was unbelievable. And credit to the Packers, because I thought this would be a game that the offense would hold them back. Yes, they only scored 16 points, but it was the efficiency. It was the time of possession. The fact that they made it easy for Malik Willis. When they asked him to throw the football, he was 12 of 14, 120 yards, had that touchdown early in the game. Packers defense came up big because it shows you Anthony Richardson still struggles to be a quarterback. And I don't know why the Indianapolis did not use his legs. Like, he has to be a runner. If you want Anthony Richardson to be effective right now, use his athleticism. They did not do that. They had one designed run in the game that wasn't a scramble. And then if you just make him be a quarterback in the pocket, it's not going to be a good day. Because if he doesn't hit the shot play and he's trying to play from the pocket, he ain't that dude yet.
Not yet. In you got to remember that he set out most of last season. What is this, like his 7th, 8th, 9th start, something along those lines. He's still
very limited starter in college, but then use his skill set.
Yeah,
I understand. Like, we don't want him to get hurt. It doesn't matter, because if you just keep him in the pocket, it's not going to give your team a chance to win right now.
Text line says that the Ravens will lose to the Cowboys is absolute crazy talk. I'll take the Ravens to beat the Cowboys, but is it crazy talk? I mean, is it? I mean, the Raiders just went into Baltimore and beat the Ravens. Is it crazy? I don't know what anything is crazy talk in the NFL right now. That's why it's so hard to bet. 3 for alls.
And let's get to the breaking news.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Chiefs running back Isaiah Pacheco has a fractured fibula.
That's a broken leg, boys and girls.
They broke his leg. He left the stadium in a walking boot yesterday. People were hoping it was just a sprain. He'll be all right. He was in good spirits. He broke his leg.
So, year? I mean, is that done? Who's their backup running back? Is it Samaje Perine?
So they brought in Samaje Perine. Carson Steele was who was getting the carries. But that's a gigantic loss for Kansas City, who the passing game hasn't been great for the 2 weeks. Patrick Mahomes threw 2 interceptions. And, this is one where, all right, Patrick, we know you're that dude, but you got to start making some plays downfield because they're taking away Travis Kelce.
Carson Steele was the guy, the rookie that they were giving the ball to at the end of the game to hold on to. He's a rookie out of UCLA. Rookie out of UCLA. Birthday happens to be the same day as mine.
I believe he's a MAC transfer.
Is he?
Played at UCLA 1 year. It was one of those guys that was like a college football legend.
Is he your big pickup this week?
He'll be a pickup.
Somebody who's going to run the ball for Kansas City, right?
That is one for fantasy purposes, it's going to be murky because they're going to use Samaje Perine in the passing game. These cars still, it's just like all of a sudden you're looking at that Cowboys backfield and there's 3 dudes running the football.
As I was going through my roster and thinking who should I keep, there was Samaje Perine on my roster for like $3. I'm like, yeah, he didn't even have a team. He got cut by the Broncos. There was part of me that thought maybe you just keep him because he's a running back for $3. He'd be valuable now. I mean, valuable now. All right, 3 for all results. So I didn't realize I picked a Monday night game. So I still got tonight's game.
You do. You are on point so far.
On the underdogs?
And maybe, I know we had a little miscommunication on Friday. The sheet I printed out for you didn't say home or away.
Yeah, and that was on me.
But maybe that's the way you should look at it. Because maybe that would influence you too much. Because you hit absolute home runs.
Well, I remember the look you gave me when I took the Saints. You're like, huh? And I took the Saints plus 6.5. And I didn't expect them to beat the Cowboys 44-19. But I just thought because they'll score some points, they'll go in there. And boy, was that a winner. I took the Bucs plus 7.5 on the road at Detroit, straight up winner. And I got the Falcons tonight plus 6.5, so we'll see. But I'm 2-0. You won with the Texans. You laid 6.5. They won by 9 last night. You won with the Chargers. You laid 5.5. They won. That was, I guess that's the way. Just play against Carolina. Just play against Carolina. And then you lost on Indianapolis. You laid 2 points on Indianapolis against Malik Willis in Green Bay. You figured that they'd go in and be able to handle that, and you didn't. So you're 2-1 on the week, 4-5 on the year. So a good 2-1 week. I was watching that. I couldn't remember the third dog game I picked up. For some reason, I thought I took the Broncos.
I love it.
And lost by the hook, but I didn't.
Maybe that's a good way to look at it.
Well, but you start looking at all the thick spreads, right? And so, okay.
The Saints one, I was with you on that. Like I liked
you were?
that pick.
Okay.
I didn't pick it.
I remember you raised your eyebrows.
But I liked that
okay.
pick because I thought it was too large of a number.
You thought the 6.5 was too much?
Like I thought the Saints would cover that.
Okay.
Went out right. I wasn't sure. But.
So there were a lot of close games. There were 2 blowouts yesterday. The Rams game was a blowout. The Chargers was a blowout. Was there another one? And the Saints. Everything else was a 1-score game. And so I start looking when I see thick spreads like that in the NFL, 6.5, 7.5. In the NFL, that's a big number. It's not like college football where Lobos are down 28.5-point dogs while they cover.
Depends on when you got that too. Because if you waited, I think it went down to 24.5 on Saturday.
What was the final number? So it was 26.
Lobos Tigers.
Ooh, it went all the way down to 24.5. Yeah. If you waited, then you got beat on it. Yeah. All right. When we come back, we'll talk about that. 505-246-0610. Some college football. Not a good week around here on the college football. Aggies get beat 48-0 in Fresno. Lobos got beat 45-19 in Auburn, Alabama. After a really, really competitive first half. And I think, well, I'll tell you what I think, because I think there's signs of optimism. I know. You're 0-3, and here comes Fresno State. I get it. But, and I'll tell you what the but is. Well, then we'll talk with Bronco Mendenhall. Coming up at 9 o'clock, he is your Lobo football coach. If you have been a victim of break-in, home or business, you know all too well it takes way too long for police to show up. They just don't have enough officers. When it's you, when it's your home, when it's your business, you need a quicker response. How about 7 minutes or less? That's normally the response time for customers of International Protective Service. If you have not been a victim, I know you're 1 degree away. I know you know somebody. It's not fun. It's what's going on in this town. Protect yourself. IPS has watched my home for years. I was in Target the other day. There's 3 IPS officers out front. They're protecting Target and making a difference. They're outside retail outlets and protecting residences all over Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Why? Because A, they work. They keep the bad guys away. And B, you've worked too damn hard to let the bad guys come in and destroy what you've worked so hard to build. Call IPS. Don't wait to be a victim. Be proactive on this one. Don't wait to be a victim of property crime. Call IPS and have them protect what you've worked so hard to build. So who's watching your home when you're away? Don't let it be the bad guys. A quick response to your alarm or standing guards at your business, that's what IPS does. You'll sleep better at night. 505-897-2420 is the number. 505-897-2420. They're online at ipsglobal.com. Passionate about making Albuquerque and Santa Fe a better and safer place to live and work.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated,
ripped,
plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Well, I didn't. No, your guy, Stigman Freud, did. The American Stigalo. Scott Stigler. So I was looking at your sheet, the sheet, the rundown sheet, and you got a score wrong. Houston beat Chicago 19-13, not 19-10. which means they won by 6, which means you laid 6.5, which means you didn't win that game. Stigler, I'm sorry, man. I feel like the guy at the betting window. I mean, that's your guy, Scott. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong. It's a typo.
My bad. All right, so you went 1-2 this week, which drops you to 3-6. I'm sorry, but it's a good thing we have a fact checker, Scott Stigler, who can do math because I couldn't. But yeah, you lose on the hook. That sucks. All right, sorry about that.
There's no reason to be sorry.
Yes, Stigler just he gave me a wink. Of course he does. So his picks can cover. That's why he has it on the sheet. No, that's not. JJ wouldn't do it that way. No way. He wouldn't do that. All right, 505-246-0610. 505-246-0610. Your email is jeff@sportsanimalabq.com. JJ@sportsanimalabq.com. All right, JJ, Louisville football. Halftime, you had to feel good. You had to feel good. I'm going to give you this. And I know the offense overall only put up 19 points. They look like a different offense. And I don't know if they've got enough weapons, and the leading receiver was different this time around. It was Ryan Davis, 6 catches for 100 yards. The hit that Luke Wysong took going across the middle, by the way, that put him in the medical tent. And that young man holding on, like, he's proven it to me. I didn't know. I didn't think that he had it. I didn't think he could make those catches in traffic. And I will never doubt that young man going in traffic ever again. After the catches that he made against Arizona, and then the hit he took in the first half against Auburn on Saturday and held on to that ball, and then came back 2 plays later after going into the medical tent, he's got all my respect. And he's a bad little, yep. And he recovered a fumble on special teams or a muffed punt. He's got all my respect. But JJ, the defense, especially in the second half, Auburn figured it out and wore him down up front.
It's enough if they can and you can, Lobo fan, hang in there until Mountain West.
Yeah, that's what you've been saying.
The stretch that starts with New Mexico State. Because the Mountain West schedule for the Lobos, it ain't difficult. I don't have high expectations for them against Fresno State because that's a very good football team. But
you know what's crazy? If you look at it, and if they lose to Fresno, right? And so that means they've got to go 6-2 the rest of the way to qualify for a bowl game. And I don't know that they will, because I think Washington State's really good, still left on their schedule. They won the Apple Cup. They beat Washington this weekend. But New Mexico State is not great, are they?
New Mexico State's offense is terrible.
And we'll talk to Tony Sanchez about that. He played 2 different quarterbacks last week.
So that's the game you'll find out. You have a bad offense going against a bad defense.
They had 138 total yards in Fresno. Didn't score a point. Air Force scored 3 points at Baylor, but they got beat. What they scored 10 the week before against San Jose State. Utah State,
good performance.
Yeah, they hung with Utah, and Colorado State, hung with Colorado for a little bit. They didn't score. Wyoming's 0-3. San Diego State can't score. Hawaii's beatable. Like you look at the rest of the schedule. To JJ's point, if you hang in, there could be something down the road, but you got to get there. You got to stay healthy, and at some point you got to stop someone. I mean, look, you're not scoring enough points to give up. They've given up 35 to Montana State, 61 and 45.
And I think that's part of the reason too. You mentioned, Ned James, former Lobo quarterback, who's with me on the UNM Sports Radio Network shows, is we kind of overanalyze the offense because there's no margin for error. And you look and you say, oh, they scored on 4 or 5 red zone trips, but then it was field goals. It was a missed field goal. As you get down to the 4-yard line, you can't score a touchdown. Those teams, like the Lobos, get to the 4, they have to score a touchdown.
They're giving up an average of 47 points a game. I mean, to his point, to your point, until you can stop someone settling for field goals or at least field goal attempts, right? Now, I mean, Fresno State's good. Mikey Keene's good. Their running game is good. And then you're gonna face the Aggies and Air Force. You got to score points. JJ, I'm going to tell you this. I'm encouraged. Now, why am I encouraged? They just got beat 45-19 after getting beat 61-39. I'm encouraged offensively because I think they can score. I think Devin Dampier is special. I really do. I'm encouraged because I saw dudes run the ball. Like watching playmakers, and that was my thing. I thought Eli Sanders ran the ball hard when they ran the ball. Jacobs was good. So I feel like there's something there offensively. Boy, man, and Bronco, I know we'll talk about it. He's going to talk about the big plays, and they limited the big plays. There weren't a bunch of huge plays. You had the 150-yard touchdown pass where they went over the top. I'll tell you this. You know what I loved? I loved when they were on what was it, 3rd and short or 4th and short, and they went over the top and hit the big one to Ryan Davis.
Oh, they had that one.
I loved that.
Also, the short yardage situation where they snuck Jacobs out of the backfield.
Loved that too.
Yeah, the offense, it's
creative.
Good.
It's creative.
Devin
There's something
Dampier is legit. Everyone who watches him, and I think it's frustrating for Lobo fans when you're trying to watch the game, but they're like, how is this kid here? Why is this kid here? Like, that's what you get.
I can't tell you how many times on the golf course people said, are we going to be able to keep that? He's gone, isn't he? And I'm like, well, he stayed last year. I mean, everybody's already considering him gone.
He is so good.
Yeah.
And you believe in that. And that's why if you can hang on, that's what's going to give you a chance when the schedule changes. But in terms of the big plays, there were a lot of big plays, the ways that they calculate them, 10-yard rushes, 15-yard passes.
Right up the gut.
But the Lobos actually had more than Auburn did.
Again, to your point, when they get into Mountain West play, Fresno's going to be a little bit of a different animal. But I'm not worried about them scoring points. I think they can score points. Can they stop someone? And I look at San Diego State, and I look at Air Force, and I look at some of these offenses, New Mexico State, that they're coming up on the schedule. And you got to say, man, there's a chance to win some games. Bronco Mendenhall scheduled to be with us coming up. That will be at 9 o'clock this morning. He's the Lobo football coach. We'll talk about the game at Auburn and look forward to Fresno State coming in on homecoming. It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck. Bronco with us at 9 o'clock. You next. 505-246-0610 on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight. Boom! Boom!
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot. It's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. Our law firm was founded by my father, Thibaut J. Chavez, with one goal: to get New Mexicans the help they need. That's why we built a different kind of law firm. We focus on family values, dedicated service, and we make a real contribution by giving back to our communities. We can't change what happened to you or your loved ones, but we can help you get back on the road to recovery. We're by your side, and we're still as local as red and green.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM.
It's the OD in the AM with 3-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta, and JJ Bach.
A little breaking news this morning on the National Football League. Isaac Pacheco, Chiefs running back, expected to go on injured reserve, broken fibula. That happened yesterday. X-rays showed that he has the fracture. They'll do an MRI to see if there's ligament damage. He rushed for 90 yards, 19 carries, caught 5 passes. Still was enough to help beat me in fantasy football yesterday. Probably you as well. Samaje Perine is the backup to him on the depth chart. He didn't play yesterday. So where did they go? And this will be interesting couple of days to see. Is there a running back out there? Is Le'Veon Bell still there?
He's somewhere.
I mean, so there's always that just retired running back, that Dalvin Cook. Dalvin didn't stick with the Cowboys, right? He's not going to. I mean, that's not the answer, right? But there's always that dude, right? Is there? I mean, they're gonna turn somewhere, and they're gonna turn someone into a damn star, or they're gonna trade a 6th round pick for some guy sitting on somebody's bench, and he's gonna be all pro because he's gonna join them.
I wouldn't go that far. Clyde Edwards-Helaire wasn't that.
Okay.
He's on the IR until after week 5.
4. I think after week 4. Yeah.
It's 4 weeks.
Which is 2 more weeks. Yeah. Which is 2 more weeks. And then, but your
committee approach.
Your point's right on him. All right. So that's your news this morning. You can get in anywhere you want to go on what happened yesterday. Kansas City, you know what? And I'm not going to tell you that was the wrong call, because it wasn't. The pass interference call at the end of the game. They needed that to get out. It's 4th and 16, and Mahomes just chucks one up, and they get a late pass interference call to keep a drive alive against Cincinnati. Harrison Butker comes on, hits the game-winning field goal. Patrick Mahomes just threw 13 passes in the first half. They only ran 18 plays. He had 2 interceptions. But he chucked it up when it mattered. And
the script, Jeff, the NFL bailing Kansas City out because you need to show a happy Taylor Swift. You don't need her crying upstairs.
I don't know, man. My Twitter told me she got canceled and lost like zillions of followers and dollars. And
sure,
whatever.
She's feeling it this morning. Yeah, right. Sure, she's hurting.
Exactly right.
I'm trying to correct course.
That's right. Joe Burrow, 23 of 36 for 258 and 2 touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes, only 151. He threw the ball away twice. Pacheco got hurt. I don't want to sit here and tell you that I think the Chiefs are gettable, because until somebody does get them,
It's the same thing we saw last year.
100%.
Start the season.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I think this is more about the Bengals. And because they went in there and were competitive, look, they lose the opening week to the Patriots. They were the number one loser, right? That was the most stunning outcome of week one. That the New England freaking Patriots went in there, the team that was supposed to be the worst team in football, who, by the way, lost in overtime at home yesterday to Seattle. And Seattle's the quietest 2-0 team in football right now. The Patriots went in there and beat them. And so I don't know. Look, they're 0-2 is 0-2. You can sugarcoat it all you want, and they were a pass interference away from going in and beating the Chiefs, and we'd be singing a whole different song. If they beat the Chiefs yesterday, we'd be singing a whole different. Well, they beat them. See, the Bengals are back, and Joe Burrow's healthy, and they can go in, and Joe Burrow can beat that guy.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of over-analysis of him picking up a water bottle. Like, oh my gosh, a dude is flexing his wrist.
Yeah, I did.
What are we doing?
Of everything
Like,
I didn't,
stop.
everything I didn't get out of that last week's social media
Like,
mess.
did you see him try to pick up a water bottle? Yeah, I saw him pick up.
Yeah.
How do you feel when you try to pick up something in the morning? I'm a little sore. The dude had wrist surgery in the offseason. He's fine. Like, chill out. Stop trying to make something out of everything.
All I know is I watched him
Twitter
yesterday. Almost.
Can they bring that energy the next couple weeks? Because they always get up for Kansas City. They're
Yeah.
always ready to play that game.
Well, they get the Commandos, the
should
Panthers, and the Ravens.
Be 2-2.
Yeah.
Should be 2-2.
Yeah, I mean, look, they should beat the Commanders. That's an ABC game. That's Monday Night Football next week.
Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah, I mean, they should handle the Commanders next week. And the Commanders are struggling.
We understand. Football's football.
Yeah.
But you got to bring
Although
that
the
same
Commanders
energy.
won, right? Commanders
They did,
won. Yeah.
without scoring a touchdown.
Yeah. Boy, the Giants are in trouble. Then they get the Panthers, and who knows? I don't know what the Ravens are. I just don't. And then they get a bad Giants team, a Browns team who can't score. Like it's there for them. But 0-2 is 0-2. That's one of those, and this is the Chiefs thing where I'm never worried because we're going to find out a way at the end because we got that dude. But what did that dude do? What did Mahomes do to win that game? He chucked the ball in the air and induced a pass interference. I mean, there's no argument that was pass interference, right? This isn't one of those where you got to let him play. He got there early, right? I hate when penalties decide games, and in this case, like Bronco Mendenhall told us a few weeks ago, it's always 3, 4, 5 plays that decide games, and that was certainly one of them. I hate that penalties decide games, but you got to call them when they happen, and that sure as hell was a penalty. Because I thought Cincinnati outplayed them as I watched that game, JJ. Now, I know down the stretch they didn't have Isaac Pacheco, and they were leaning on a guy named Carson Steele. Was Kansas City. But I look at it, I can't make them one of the biggest losers. I just can't. As much as I want to, because that game would have meant so much to win, I've got them just outside my 3 biggest losers of the weekend because they played well, got beat in a heartbreaker in a game that would have, look, man, that swings their whole psyche. If you lose to the worst team in the league and beat the best team in the league on the road, who the hell are you? Well, I'm what I saw most recently, and that's how I feel, and all of a sudden I feel better. Now I lost to the worst team in the league, damn near beat the best team in the league. Do I feel a little better? I guess I feel, but I lost. I'm 0-2. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, the 0-2 teams that still should have confidence are Cincinnati and Baltimore.
What I'm giving you Cincinnati because they played really well. Baltimore simply because they have Lamar Jackson? Like, what have you seen out of Baltimore?
You could say the same thing for Baltimore week 1. They lost to Kansas City.
Yeah, in a close game to the Chiefs, 27-20. Yeah. And then they
that same scenario.
And then they came home and lost to a Raiders team who's better than I think better than New England. All right. I got 6 candidates for biggest winners. I got squeeze 3 of them into that box. I got 6. I mean, in no order: Vegas, the Saints, the Vikings, Tampa Bay, Arizona, and Green Bay. I'm going to back off Arizona because they beat a depleted team, so I'll pull them out. No, honestly, big win for them, and they put up big numbers, and they snapped a 9. Did you know the Rams had won 9 straight in Arizona? There's some crazy streaks that were ended yesterday. The Raiders had not won a game. It was 49 in a row the Raiders had lost where they were trailing by double digits in the fourth quarter. And they were down by 10 in Baltimore yesterday. And Gardner Minshew to the rescue. And the magical mustache brought them back. So that streak ended. And the Rams had won 9 straight over the Cardinals in Phoenix or in Glendale. And they put that to bed with a resounding 41-10 beatdown. And the Rams were in big trouble. I pulled the Rams off the biggest losers because, your biggest losers because you lost 3/5 of your offensive line and your 2 best receivers and your quarterback's hurt. What was the most impressive showing? I know what I think it was. It was New Orleans, right?
Yes.
It just the way they went out and just, but gosh, I'll tell you something. There's a couple that were out there. You talked about Green Bay's game plan was really impressive. Arizona's offense, we talk about all the Rams injuries. All those injuries aren't on defense. And Arizona was impressive.
Tampa Bay
going into Detroit and winning was really impressive.
The fact you have to realize Baker Mayfield is a good quarterback.
You're going to have to give it up at some point.
You feel
the other one's Minnesota,
good
man.
With Baker.
At some point, you have to give Sam Darnold some love if he keeps doing this. They beat the team that I don't know, consensus best team in the NFC.
Kevin O'Connell.
No.
Trust that dude when it comes to quarterbacks.
He's an Aztec and he comes off the Rams tree. So there's a lot there. What do you think? What's your most impressive performance? I'll give you 8:30 biggest 3 winners, 3 losers. There were plenty of winners and plenty of losers, but 3 biggest winners, 3 biggest losers from the weekend. That would be at 8:30, and then at 9:00, Bronco Mendenhall, the head football coach of the New Mexico Lobos, will be with us. Talk about the game at Auburn and look ahead to opening conference play against Fresno State. That'll be at 9:00 this morning. Hey, searching for your ideal venue. You got holiday season coming up. You've got to plan parties, events, whatever it happens to be. Your search stops right here at the Albuquerque Convention Center in beautiful downtown Albuquerque. The Albuquerque Convention Center has diverse spaces. They will accommodate any event imaginable. They've got insane options for food and beverage, great expertise staff, and they will make your event an event that everybody wants to attend. From intimate meetings and gatherings to grand expos and conferences, staff and service, food and beverage options that go above and beyond. Your dream event will be a reality. Everybody will want to be at your event. And it doesn't matter if it's a big, giant gala or if it's a small gathering. They've got over 600,000 square feet of beautiful space, parking adjacent to the facility, easy in, easy out, and it's right in the heart of downtown Albuquerque. Find yourself at the center of it all, at the event that you've always dreamed of planning. It's the Albuquerque Convention Center. Call today, 505-768-4575. Area code 505-768-4575, or go online at Albuquerque CC and get it all right there.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
And rewarded for doing more. But people weren't designed for all that doing. Our bodies need to settle into nothing from time to time. Into nothing at all. In a world obsessed with doing more, we invite you to undo.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard.
They beat Utah State handily, but the big win over LSU, we'll see. This is really their next big test because they were off this week. But this will be fun for them. Damn, that's something. All right, text line. What else you got on for me on the text line? I don't know if I want to go here, but all right. I'll read you the two of them. This one's from John in the Duke City. Good wet rainy Monday, Jeff and JJ. When you have head coach Bronco Mendenhall on at 9:00, you suppose he will have a reasonable answer as to why the UNM Lobos are so terrible. None of the New Mexico sports teams won this past Saturday. Aggies lost, Lobos lost, Istopes were blued out. Not looking that promising for New Mexico. Sad, actually. That's John. John, I don't think so. Are the Lobos terrible? I mean, if they were in the SEC, yeah, they'd be. They're a team that is 3 games into a first-year coach that is a rebuild that had 60 new players, that was a 28-point dog on the road in the SEC. They're not SEC good. They got blown out by a Big 12 team the week before. I'm struggling with terrible because I've watched terrible and I've seen worse than this. And maybe I need another perspective. Are they terrible? Because I don't think they're terrible. I don't think offensively they're pretty good. Defensively, you can tell me maybe they're terrible.
You could use that word. That's the classic on the surface conversation versus in the weeds like we are. Discussing it every day, putting different context on it, understanding the program development. Because if you're just, John that's tuning in the opening drive every morning, but maybe just kind of reading some headlines, this or that, not diving into it, you're going to feel that way. Average sports fan looks at that score line, looks at that record, and feels that way.
Yeah, just when you're looking at scores. Yeah, when you see scores. And then it's followed up by this one. It's from Random Texter. Football is an uphill battle for New Mexico. What do you think about New Mexico football moving to FCS? They'd be more competitive and could potentially be vying for a national championship each year.
No.
What makes you...
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Like, I'm so tired of this question.
Yeah,
you think it's just that easy? Like, you're not going to have the same amount of talent.
Or
your resources are going to drop. Like, the thing right now, is frustrating as it is, if you're an FBS team, stay FBS.
Well, if last week didn't tell you anything, it should have told you how important football is. And you're like, well, what do you mean, Jeff? I mean, whatever. So the 4 teams broke away into the Pac-12. Why? And what's it going to do to your other sports? Like, I've had so many people over the last few days really worried about basketball. And how are we going to keep Pitino? I don't know, man. Yeah, your basketball, there's no argument your basketball league took a hit. Now, has it taken a hit before? When BYU and Utah left in basketball, you took a hit. And you know what? Your league got better. In fact, your league was better than Utah's league last year in basketball. It was. The Mountain West was more competitive and deeper than the Pac-12 was last year. Now it's going to be a whole nother rebuild. And how do you get there, and where do you end up? What about baseball and all your, pick them. All your other sports.
Like, that's not just a football step. That's an entire athletic department hit.
Right.
That you take.
And so, Jeff, what does it mean? What does it matter about football? Well, why are you in that position? David Williams, the interim athletic director, was on here on Friday, and I asked him the question. And look, I've been giving you what I think the answer is. Why did this happen? Why is New Mexico left out? And he gave you the same answer I did. Football. Football has not been good over the last 2 decades. It's been the worst time in the history of college athletics to be not good, to not invest in your facilities, to not invest in the program. Now, I think they're on the right path now. I think that they got the right guy in there. I think that you're going, as JJ said, if you're willing to be a little patient, but nobody is, because everything is happening now, right? And it's already happened. But stepping back in football, so you want to join the Big Sky, what is that going to do for everything else? And by the way, the notion that, well, we'll be competitive, we can compete for a national championship if we drop down to FCS, why do you believe that? An FCS team came in and beat your place to open the season, didn't they?
Devin Dampier will not be your quarterback if you're
not
an
even
FCS
close. Not even close. 505-246-0610. I can't hear you.
It's Rudy.
All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, well, that's not working either. Rudy, good morning. Rudy's going to the big house, by the way, for the USC game. You're a 6-point underdog going in.
Yeah, it's pretty, well, they had their 3-year run, and now everybody can't wait to pay them back. We'll see if Michigan can jump up and acquit themselves and play some good football. I'll tell you this right now. I think New Mexico's offense is a lot better than Michigan's. And these people that keep saying, let's drop down, they don't understand what they're asking for. Okay, drop down. There goes your basketball program, guys. Yeah. We're the darn flagship school of this state. Here's the other thing. We're still in a conference. There's still 8 people left in the Mountain West, correct?
There's 8 in football. 7 in everything else. Yeah.
Right. So you have your 8, right?
As of now, yeah.
Correct. And you sit tight and you cash in from these schools leaving. I think the number I heard, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is the Mountain West will garner $115 million.
I've heard everywhere from $111 to $130 million.
Okay. So 8 schools splitting $130 million sounds pretty good to me. And there's no guarantee that the PAC's going to add teams and get to 8.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is, Rudy. I mean, because you got 18
but
teams.
Who are they going to add, Jeff?
Well,
Tulane?
Maybe.
Tulane?
Yeah, maybe.
Everybody wants a national conference with Tulane?
Maybe. Look, I'm with you on that. You and I are on the same boat, but the realization is you had, everybody calling them, including New Mexico, trying to get into that league. So, they're going to be picky, and because for whatever reason, people believe there's more stability there. That the estimates that I've been hearing on media rights are about 10 million, which isn't gigantic, but it's more than you're getting. And do you want to be like? There's this whole left out thing. I agree with you.
You take the 10 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now you're flying your women's golf team.
Look, I'm not arguing
all
with
the way
you.
across the United States on commercial.
If they go that way, what if they go UNLV and Air Force?
We'll see.
Yeah, I know we'll see. Yeah,
UNLV doesn't have any more money or facilities. They're not a tier 1 research institution like New Mexico. There's a lot of things. The market isn't that much bigger. They are competing with how many professional sports now?
Yeah, but Norris Boise,
Las Vegas.
Yeah, but everybody wants in Vegas. I'm not. Look. I don't know that anything is ideal right now. I think that they're not going to add is naive. They're absolutely going to, because whoever they ask is going to go.
They're trying.
Well,
they're trying. Jeff, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Because you're up on all this and you talk to all these people. Why didn't they just get everybody all at once?
Because
why did they just
I'll tell you why.
4?
I think there's a strategy to this. I think they have.
I don't think there's a strategy. I think those are the only 4 that would take the bait.
Yeah, I'm not sure I believe that. I think that it's gonna cost more to get in.
Well, the Pac-12 is not a power conference.
I agree with that 100%.
It's just a regular old conference.
Yes.
It's no better or no worse than the Mountain West right now. And there's no guarantee that it's going to be added to the power, quote-unquote, power conferences.
It will not be a power conference. It will not be an autonomous conference.
Right.
I don't see the college football playoff adding a 6th automatic bid in the college football playoff. So now you're going to be competing with the Pac for that last automatic bid.
Yeah. Now, my final thoughts are, when UNM puts a full game together, look out. And it's coming. It's coming. Anybody who's watched Bronco knows it's coming. And is it painful? Yeah, I don't like to see it, but I'll tell you what, that was a game all the way until we made a couple of critical errors. I wasn't happy about some of the calls. I even shared a couple with you. Yeah. But that's the way it is when you're a nobody. And so they just got to keep working until there's somebody. It took Fran 6 years.
Yeah, but it's got to happen quicker than that.
I know. But I'm just saying, it took Rocky 6 years. It took Davey 4 years. Just give this man a chance. People just jumping off the wagon already just bothers me. Instead, get to homecoming this weekend. I can't believe that they did this to me, but it is what it is. So I'll be in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing. I'm missing the New Mexico State game for going to Ann Arbor. So I get it. All right, safe travels.
Well, have a great day, everyone.
Later.
Bye.
A couple things I disagree with. The PAC knows what they're doing. The fact is there any doubt that they're going to add at least 2 more? That they're all clamoring to get in.
There's no doubt, and you can't keep looking at the argument saying, well, the Mountain West, it's just the Mountain West won't be that. So it won't be just as good.
Well, so what he's saying is if you leave the Mountain West as is, and they add, let's say, Memphis and Tulane, and you keep everybody, are you just as good? You're not in football. You're just not. Now, basketball, no. I mean, they took the best brand you have. With all due respect to New Mexico.
And no one is fooled. They understand they're not going to be a power conference, but this is about every single penny, every single dollar, and a national narrative that banner still is better than the Mountain West.
And there's a lot in the banner, and I know you might just say it's just a brand that's depleted, and you might even be right. But obviously it's carrying more weight than the 25-year brand that you've got. We come back, I'll get you the biggest winners and losers from the NFL this weekend and continue to entertain your phone calls at 505-246-0610. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit HansWhitlerAuto.com.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
Turbo Threads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. Turbo Threads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for Turbo Threads.
A burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds.
International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Spell, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters.
10, the sports animal.
All right, I'm going to get you winners and losers, but you're ringing the phone, and I know you want to continue the conversation on the Lobos and Mountain West Conference realignment. 505-246-0610. Anthony, thanks for holding. You're on the sports animal. Good day, sir.
Hey, good job, gentlemen. Quick on this. Of course, they're going to add 2 more teams. They have no choice but to add 2 more teams. But 2 years is a long time. I just asked Boise State. Remember, Boise State was planning on going to the Big East at one time?
Mm-hmm.
Never panned out.
With San Diego State, yeah.
And I think in the strategy is they're waiting to see what happens with the ACC, correct? They're going to see what happens with Florida State.
It's part of the
If they
strategy.
can get out of that conference, if they can get out of that conference, I'm sure they're going to go hard after California and Stanford. But for UNM fans, I think, to me, I would much rather go into Texas and get schools like UT San Antonio, maybe in UTEP, bring in those 2 TV markets compared to Corvallis and, was it Pullman? I mean,
Well, but it's Spokane. It's Spokane. But okay, so UTEP maybe.
It's Pullman, isn't it?
Yeah, well, they're in Pullman, but it's the Spokane TV market. But tell me why UTSA would leave the American. They get more television money there. Why would they come to the Mountain West? You'd have to really incentivize them.
Yeah, you're probably right. But, I mean, you could try, right? I mean, I'm not saying they're going to leave. They might leave. It could be travel. It could be opportunity to dominate your league. Because the thing is right now, you want to be in a league, and UNM should want to be in a league where I think UNM's on a 2-year process, right? Obviously, their offense is way better than it's ever been in the last 5 years already. Okay. Defensively, they're struggling, but I agree with you guys. I think by the time they get into Mountain West competition and start playing teams like that, and they're not getting beat up, because what's going on with Arizona and Auburn, the reason we can't compete with those teams is because of depth. That's why in the first half we look competitive. Even on defense we look competitive.
And then you get
but by
worn
the time
down.
the second half rolls around and they're just rotating guys after guys after guys after guys, we start getting beat down. Our guys start getting beat down. We don't look very good in the second half. That's not going to happen much in the Mountain West. We're going to compete in the Mountain West. And 2 years from now, if we might be the top of the Mountain West, we might be competing for that at-large bid.
Yep.
We don't have to go to San Diego State or Boise State. We might be the team that in the Mountain West is competing for that open spot.
Yeah, maybe. And that would be the plan. Appreciate you, Anthony. Thanks for the call. I don't mind where he's coming from. I think the reality is, what are you going to do if the Mountain West stays together? And there's a real good chance of that. And how are you going to get better? Does UTEP do it for you? I don't know that UTEP does, but okay, some people do. UTSA would be great. What's the incentive for them to leave what they're in now? And JJ, maybe the answer is you use some of that war chest money, some of that right. That's what the PAC's doing. The PAC had $240, $50 million sitting around. They just paid those out fees and the poaching fees, and maybe that's the answer. So, all right, you want winners and losers? Who do you want first, winners or losers? And then I'll go to the phone.
Well, you can pick one or the other for this segment.
All right, I can't get them both in?
No.
All right. Well, then you know what? Then I'll do them in the next segment. I'll do them both the next segment. Now, let me take this call. Edward, good morning. You're on the Sports Animal.
Well, let me give you a prelude to winners and losers. Jeff, remember that iconic opening in the late 70s and early 80s on CBS Sports when Brent Musburger would say, "You are looking live."
Yep. You are looking live. Yep.
Iconic. Yep. Words that'll resonate in our lives forever.
Yep.
Well, they had Jimmy the Greek. You're like Jeff the Italian.
Is that right?
You are killing it with the picks.
Well, I mean, I went 2-0. If I could win tonight, I get back to what that would make me. That would make me 5-4. Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good.
I might heed some of your advice, because I am devastatingly handsome and tragically brilliant. Maybe make myself even more wealthy by following your picks. So yeah. I appreciate what you do. Hey, I was rooting for Pavia. I thought they had a chance to go 3-0, and they lost to a tough Georgia State team.
Yep. Sunbelt, baby.
That would have been awesome.
Yep.
The NFL is nuts. Like, it's so unpredictable. I'm going to talk about I'm going to pick on the Cowboys a little bit, and they're not as good as they were week one, and they're not as bad as they were yesterday. Mm-hmm. But something's becoming painfully obvious to me with the Cowboys. Two of their best players, by the way, Martin got hurt yesterday, and he is their best player, and then their kicker's probably their second best player. I'm starting to believe that both Dak Prescott and Micah Parsons are front runners, particularly Micah Parsons. They keep telling me he's the best defender in the league, or one of them. I saw the guy from Detroit yesterday have 4.5 sacks. 4.5 sacks yesterday.
Hutchinson.
Micah Parsons plays where when you don't have to be accountable to the running game, and you're free just to rush the passer and be freelance, and your team has the lead, and you play downhill defensively. Things are awesome. And by the way, it's not just him; it's the scheme they have. I understand that, but in the biggest games and the biggest moments, you don't even hear his name. And there's a little bit of a front runner syndrome with going on there. I've said for a few years now, you can go back the last 3 or 4 years, and when Dak plays against the better teams in the NFL, he doesn't do well. It's just the data's there. I don't know how much compelling it needs to be. And they don't pay him $60 million a year to fall behind. And good teams, they don't get blasted at home the last 2 games. Championship level teams don't get blasted like that at home. Guys on defense, they have guys running free, wide open across the seams. The guys are wide open. I think the Saints could have put up 70 or 60 yesterday.
Yeah, they backed off. They backed off.
Absolutely. Hey, I know you're coming up against the limit here, but the Chiefs, that was the right call. But let me tell you, there's death, there's taxes, and there's something weird that's going to happen at the end of games, whether it's a penalty or whatever's going to happen, and it's just going to happen, right? And you just have to accept it at this point, because that's the NFL. Hey, thanks for letting me share a few thoughts. Have a delightful day.
See you. All right, winners and losers when we get back. I know I promised them to you this time. I'm going to give them to you when we get back. Bronco Mendenhall at 9.
Winners and losers. Well, with Underdog Fantasy, you can be a winner. It is so much fun. Get in the game right now. If you haven't checked it out, now's the time. Monday Night Football and a lot of fun. Higher or lowers the stat projections for you to check out when it comes to putting together your pick'em entry. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code JJBuck, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That is huge. Use that free pick. A pick'em entry, you start with 2 players from at least 2 different teams and then build from there. Look at the great stat projections that Underdog Fantasy has put out, higher or lower, on so many things. Not just yards, touchdowns. We're talking completions, completion percentage. They have so many fun categories for you to check out when it comes to these stat projections. Making picks in Underdog is straightforward, and signing up is even easier. Dive in right now. You've been watching the games. You want more excitement. You want more entertainment. Football. Bring it together. with Underdog Fantasy. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code JJBuck to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Get in the game right now. Use that promo code for Monday Night Football. You're already going to enjoy it, and you're going to enjoy it even more with Underdog Fantasy. Must be 18 and over and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Meyer here. And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Adventure is leading the charge in the NIL space. And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Light skin shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in Murcia. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am an Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We fight the battles no one hears about. We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop.
I am Michael Azera, midfielder for New Mexico United. Clark's support for the United is an example of their commitment to local partnerships. Clark's understands that paying it forward develops a better team and ultimately better community partner.
When you need pet food and supplies,
Clark's is always the best shot.
Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations.
Go United!
ClarksPets.com.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, taint, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. Our law firm was founded by my father, Thibaut J. Chavez, with one goal: to get New Mexicans the help they need. That's why we built a different kind of law firm. We focus on family values, dedicated service, and we make a real contribution by giving back to our communities. We can't change what happened to you or your loved ones, but we can help you get back on the road to recovery. We're by your side, and we're still as local as red and green.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Winners and losers of the weekend opening drive. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck. You want winners or losers first? Where do you want me to go? Let me start at the bottom. I'll give you the losers first. Honorable mention, biggest losers of the weekend, Dallas Cowboys. I mean, so you're like, how'd they not make the top list, Jeff? Well, because, I'll tell you why. But honorable mention, Cowboys. Third biggest loser of the weekend, Cincinnati. And you can say, Jeff, they lost to Kansas City. Why? It's how they lost, what it means, and they can't get over the hump. Now, I'm going to tell you why I have them over Dallas. The Jamar Chase penalty at the end of the game, where he was hit, the referee said the reason he got hit with that flag at the end, then knocked him out of field goal range. The next play, they had to get into field goal range instead of getting into touchdown range to win the damn game. According to the referee, the simple answer is profanity used by grown men versus direct personal abusive language towards a game official is the reason. That's the line. When the line gets crossed, we simply can't let that happen in pro football. You got a guy, end quote, by the way. You got a guy who's one of your best players who costs you dearly. You're 0-2. You can't beat that team on the road after. It's just huge. What it would have meant to go over the top, they'd have been the biggest winner of the weekend, and I got them as number 3. Number 2 is Jacksonville. JJ, for crying out loud, man, that team can't win. They scored, 13 points again. They've scored 30 points in 2 weeks. They lose to Cleveland at home. Cleveland ran the ball well enough. The 0-2 start. They still got to go to Buffalo next Monday night. They got to go to Houston the following week. They lost their tight end, Eric Ingram. To me, Jacksonville is in big trouble. And the biggest loser of the weekend is the Ravens blowing a 10-point lead at home against a Las Vegas team who had not won a game in their last 49 situations in which they've been trailing by double digits in the fourth quarter. 49 games in a row Raiders had lost where they trailed by 10 or more in the fourth quarter. They snapped that yesterday on the road. Where is the Lamar offense? Where is that Baltimore defense? The Raiders came in and did them in their place and dropped them to 0-2. They got a tough schedule in front of them. To me, that they were the biggest loser of the weekend.
Right on with that.
So you're good with all three of those?
Yes.
All right. I'll give you my three winners of the weekend. Honorable mention, Arizona with the offensive outburst. Green Bay winning with Malik Willis the way they did in Vegas going on the road. But my number three winner of the weekend is a 2-0 team that you did not see coming. It's the Minnesota Vikings. Sam Darnold at quarterback looked competent and in control up against, and it's because of who they beat. Not only are they 2-0, but for them to beat the 49ers, the team where Sam Darnold was backing up last year, the team that came in off of a big victory over the Jets, the team that was supposed to be, and may still be, the best team in the NFC. Darnold goes 17 for 26 for 268 yards and a touchdown. Aaron Jones fumbled the goal line, or they could have had another one. And then for them to hit the 97-yarder to Justin Jefferson, they're my number three winner of the weekend. Number two winner on the weekend, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. At some point, you're going to have to say they're not just a cute little team with Baker Mayfield anymore, but the second best team theoretically, or the team that might be the best. I mean, it was the two best, right? It was the Niners and Lions. They went into Detroit and beat them in their place. Their defense, Tampa Bay, and I think it's so much about Tampa Bay's defense and what they did. Never mind what Baker Mayfield's doing and the 5 touchdown passes to start the year. But he's off to a great start. They gave up a lot of yards, but not where it mattered. And the number one winner of the weekend is the Saints. The way they went in and beat the tar out of Dallas. They're 2-0. The start that they've had, 40-plus points both games. The way they went in and beat the Dallas Cowboys impressively, both offensively and defensively. New Orleans Saints are my number one winner of the weekend. Saints 1, Tampa Bay 2, Vikings 3. You got an issue with that? All right.
I think I would put the Packers on that list as a top 3 winner.
Yeah, I had them. I had
know
them
they're honorable mention.
Yeah, it's a good one. Bronco Mendenhall next, global football coach. Talked to him about the game at Auburn last week. Open conference play against Fresno State this week. It's next on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Now, voted the best sports show in New Mexico for 5 years running. It's the OD in the AM with 3-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck.
Lobo football will be home on Saturday. It's homecoming. They'll open up conference play against Fresno State, coming off a 45-19 loss in Auburn. It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta, our conversation with Bronco Mendenhall. Sponsored by the law offices of Rudy Chavez. For 4 decades, Rudy's been helping New Mexicans through legal issues. Call Rudy at 505-242-5500. Lobos were in this game at halftime, 17-13. In fact, had a lead in the first half. Devin Dampier with 22 of 44 for 291 yards, a touchdown and 2 interceptions. Auburn takes over in the second half, and it was the physical. Couple of chunk plays. Lobos had 448 yards in total offense and moved the ball well. The head football coach at the University of New Mexico is Bronco Mendenhall. He joins us this morning on the Sports Animal. Good morning, Bronco. How you doing?
Morning. Good. Thanks.
Appreciate the time. Hey, you look at this tape, and when you see, I know what I saw with the naked eye. The difference between the first half and the second half to you was what?
Just consistency. We didn't concentrate nearly as well, didn't execute nearly as well. Gave up a few more plays that were really concentration plays, and then penalties started to mix in. So I would say execution, consistency, and then special teams really and field position ended up playing a little bit bigger role as the game went on as well. And so that was exposed. We haven't had many special teams opportunities in the first 3 games in terms of return, coverage, and quite to the same volume. And so that gave us a clearer idea of where we stood too. So field position and concentration, I would say, ultimately made the difference. Besides just simply yardage was pretty similar. Yep. Their conversions in the red zone versus ours had something to play with it too.
Concentration obviously leads to penalties, I would imagine. 16 penalties for 112, and a lot of them were pre-snap penalties.
Exactly, and we went with crowd noise starting from Monday. We knew it would be loud. We knew it would be a challenging environment, but really didn't affect us much the first half. And so sometimes when you try to force or strain, once you get to the 2-score margin in terms of trailing, sometimes you're forced and press more than you need to, rather than playing within your assignment, within your technique, and just doing the routine plays that are necessary. And I think that contributed.
Depth and size on the line, was that a big difference in the second half?
Oh yeah, that's a physical front, especially offensively, but their defensive front as well. But I would say from the offensive perspective, I'm talking about Auburn now, through the course of the game, from first half through the third quarter, through the second, to the end of the second half, physical up front, good running game, tight ends physical, and the wear and tear of that certainly played a role.
Now, Coach, when you look at the offensive design so far this season with your offense coordinator, Jason Beck, he's putting players in position, of course, Devin Dampier. One of the things that's really stood out to me is Isaiah Silliman, who is an extra offensive lineman for you, but you line him up multiple positions on the offense. How has that helped with protection, but then also when he is a blocker in the run game?
It's helped for both. So no sacks through 3 games, which is pretty atypical. Part of that's protection and design. Also part of it's Dampier. He's hard. He's really hard to get on the ground. But really, Jason Beck, our offensive coordinator, has done a nice job with the resources we have available of just really determining what they can do and then having the creativity and innovative ideas, right, to leverage and get as many players on the field touching the ball as possible, which this past game I thought was our best job of ball distribution with a few more players kind of starting to emerge besides how we're already using Silliman.
Oh, what did you think of some of the plays that you were able to get in the run game from your running backs?
Run game design was really well done. We had one scheme and one concept that really was the majority of our run game that Auburn struggled, really never did stop or defend well the entire game. And so that allowed us to keep our offense on the field, keep the ball moving, and then quite frankly have some opportunities in the pass game that wouldn't have been there without being able to establish that. So I thought it was well designed. It was very simple, not very complex and not super diverse, but again, versus what they were doing is really well designed.
He's Lobo football coach Bronco Mendenhall with us on The Sports Animal. I loved some of the play calling and get creative. You got chunks on short yardage. You went over the top and hit Ryan Davis on a short yardage play. You got Jacobs out of the backfield on a short yardage play. I really love what Coach Beck's doing with some of those calls and getting creative.
Yeah, it's been going all the way back to Virginia when we turned that program and through, quite frankly, quarterback play and innovation. So a lot of the same things you're seeing now really ended up making a difference. Again, maximizing resources, super tough to handle and really identify who's going to be where and where the ball's going to go. And again, what we certainly can improve on, and I mentioned it earlier, is now just finishing once we're in the red zone and getting touchdowns. And because we certainly are moving the ball up and down the field well enough to be in the game to the very end.
Yeah, I don't know, as you went through and graded, I don't know how many drops you had. I thought there were some opportunities when you talk about lost opportunities. But I'll tell you something, Luke Weissong going over the middle, the hit he took in that first half before he went into the tent, he was on the field 2 plays later. I don't know how anybody could ever, at the last 2 weeks, question that young man's toughness.
Luke Weissong is one of the best football players that I've ever coached, as well as one of the toughest individuals and most competitive individuals that I've ever, and hardest working players that I've ever been fortunate enough to be with. He's exceptional in every way, and really is just, if I were to have to say right now, what does Lobo football look like? I want it to look like him, really just throughout the program.
Defensively, obviously, you got to get better. I think the average is 47 points. Now, you're not going to play Arizona and Auburn every week, although Fresno State just put up 48 last week. You're going to see another Mikey Keene and another really good offense. But where is it? You talked the other day about cutting down on the chunk plays, and I don't know how you graded out on that, but obviously at some point you've got to stop. If you're not going to convert in the red zone, you got to stop them a lot more frequent than you are.
Yeah, exactly. So this past game, from the Arizona game to this one, about 100 less yards, 8 less what I call giant plays, 8, as well as fewer points. And so it's still absolutely a work in progress, giant improvement still needed, and consistency still lacking. Again, first half was, much closer to what the kind of football we'll need to play for the rest of the season will look like. And so glimmers and glimpses and moments, but not yet sustainability, consistency, and the production that we need. So still tons and tons and tons of improvement necessary and needed there.
Now, Coach, when you look at defensively and just the communication, the players being where they need to be, stuff that you've talked about, what did that look like on Saturday?
I would say improved. Again, there's probably 15 plays that were still critical plays and really damaging plays throughout the game where players are outside of their assignment, outside of their technique, and just quite frankly need to be more disciplined, more diligent, and more driven to do exactly what they need to do. And I'm talking about all 11. But anytime there's an individual or two that are off, it doesn't take long, especially against quality opponents, for that to hurt you. And so I would say improved and improving, but again, from the defenses that I've coached, been part of, and know what kind is necessary to take over a league, to have postseason play, etc. We're still a long ways from that, and working as hard as we can and as fast as we can to address it, but saw signs of it from spring practice all the way through fall camp. And so this isn't all of a sudden just surfacing, and, man, driving the pace as fast and as hard as we can, and hopefully similar improvement from Arizona to Auburn, what we saw. We need to keep on that trend as now we're getting into conference play.
Just a few more minutes. Bronco Mendenhall, New Mexico football coach, and here comes conference play, and maybe the best team in your league, or certainly one of the best teams in your league, at Fresno State, and a team that New Mexico beat them up there last year, and it was an interesting game, and a bunch of these guys are going to remember that, and I'm sure a bunch of their guys remember that. I don't know that plays into it. I know what you saw on tape last week, a team that went into Michigan and competed with the defending national champions. You got a heck of a tough conference opener.
Yeah, we do, and they're a very good team. Super aggressive, offensively, creative, innovative. I would say similar. I can't say similar, but I would say it reminds me a little bit of what we do. And so shifting and motioning and different uses of personnel and eye control plays and lots of challenges. And then defensively, they're playing, I think, really well also. And so I'm not sure what the rest of the league will look like, but from an early assessment, certainly one of the best teams in the league, and a very confident team.
Yeah. All right, before we let you go, I got to ask you about the conference news that came out late last week with the alignment and the 4 teams announcing that they're leaving and going to the Pac-12, and then all the rumors of the uncertainty. And your thought on that. I don't know how much of that filters into what you're doing on a day-to-day, but certainly everybody's talking about it, and I got to believe you've got an opinion on it as well.
Yeah, so it's not surprising. One of my first, I think the first head coaches meeting I was part of with the Mountain West Conference, and our commissioner was there, and et cetera. And really we were addressing strength of the league and unity and et cetera, and the different fees to exit and penalties. And I kind of spoke up at that point, and I just really said, if anyone in here is approached with the right opportunity, they'll leave. And I'm not sure, I don't think the comment was taken really well. But the reality is, in today's landscape of realignment, each school, and much like each individual, assistant coach, head coach, athletic director, many people leave one place for another for a better opportunity. Now it's just happening with entire schools to join leagues. So I don't think that part is necessarily as surprising, but I do think it's fairly short-sighted. So this is a potential conference that won't have an automatic bid, does not have A4 status. I think is tenuous at best. And what I think they probably have to be hoping for is just an increased television package based on what schools they can draw. But that's still sub-threshold of what the A4 looks like. And so it seems to me like a little bit more of a holding place until whatever's next. But again, those are just my initial thoughts. And it doesn't do me really any good to worry or think about it with just running our program. But it'll be interesting to see. I wouldn't be surprised if they come back to the Mountain West and maybe look for 1 or 2 more teams after I think they consider maybe the AAC and others. I think when it comes down to it, they might end up circling back, but that's just a guess.
Yeah. Have you football coaches had a meeting, the ones that are left? And I know I'm using air quotes, you're just a football coach, but do you have thoughts on what your league should do to make sure that each one of you and really the University of New Mexico finds himself in a safe, stable, secure, strong position?
Yeah, I haven't. We haven't talked as football coaches, but certainly safe, strong, and stable. Those are great adjectives and desirable for sure. I think the Mountain West Conference is a really good league. I love the schools, the towns, and the history. And so at this point, right, adding the very best schools possible to enhance the league and make it as appealing and marketable as possible is certainly important and necessary. That's the landscape that we have. So those selections of who comes in, but also possibly addressing who else still might go. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. Regardless of all that, commitment matters. And so athletic departments, right, that show commitment, quite frankly, through budget, through resources, through commitment to athletics, they become very desirable when it comes to realignment. And 3 of the 4, I would say, that were selected had really strong success in football, probably 9 of the last or 10 of the last 12 years in terms of the league play and maybe being the champion. And so I still think ultimately quality football with the right level of commitment is the most attractive thing when it comes to realignment and who wants you. In the Mountain West Conference, certainly basketball and that emphasis matters. So I'm not diminishing that as well. But if you look at the primary driver, I would say nationwide, it's probably quality of football and commitment to football, with basketball being a close second. Again, I would say nationwide now, not just school-specific.
No doubt, which makes it such even more important at the time where you are at the University of New Mexico in transition at the athletic director position as well. So.
Yeah, I think that's right. So by my hire, right, I think that was a really, this sounds funny, maybe a strong step in terms of commitment and desire to have a great football program. The athletic director position that will be hired, I think will be a very similar statement. And then, whatever the resources and commitment looks like budget-wise and through NIL and New Mexico's commitment that way, I'm sure it's being reassessed and assessed at every turn, as well as the other Mountain West schools, as to, what that truly looks like, because each school has to then, right, Mountain West is a great place to be. If and whatever happens there going forward, right, each school needs to represent itself strongly as to, hey, this is our commitment, this is our direction, this is our trajectory, and we'd like to be considered for whatever that is. And I would like that to be the highest and best level possible, as well as I'm sure our administration does, our fans and our players.
No doubt. Always appreciate the conversation. Thank you. Good luck this week. Homecoming, conference opener, a big one against Fresno State. We'll see you during the week. Thanks, Bronco.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you. Bronco Mendenhall. The conversation was sponsored by the law offices of Rudy Chavez. Personal care and the attention you deserve for your legal issues. Call Rudy at 505-242-5500. I appreciate his stance on that. I do. And there's, look, we'll get into all the X's and O's, but what he had to say and his thoughts on just moving forward and the league thoughts, I think, are really interesting. On the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal.
Dirty Boys present.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep.
Conversation with Bronco. It's a good perspective, and I don't think, some people might say, it's the perspective of those who were left behind. I already got that text. But I don't think he's wrong. JJ, was the word he used tenuous? As far as the teams going over and hoping that they are going to get a better valuation. Because he's right. They're not going to be an autonomous 4 or an autonomous 5. I believe the word was tenuous. Yeah, I think everything's a risk right now. I mean, everything's a risk unless you're at the top of the SEC or the Big Ten right now. Don't you think?
It is.
So,
and if you were a team that was selected, if the Lobos were going to the Pac-12, they'd be doing the same thing that those other schools are doing. They'd be hyping it up. They'd be telling their fans how much better it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, you'd be riding that wave. But it's not a wave that is gigantic.
Yes.
It's like you just, you drive a Mustang every day? Yeah. And then you got a Mustang GT.
Okay. That's fair. I think for those schools and their fan bases, they're celebrating something. And they've been wanting out of the Mountain West probably since they got in it, right? I mean, not that long, but certainly they always, those fan bases believe that they were better than this league, right? San Diego State, Boise State, Colorado State, and Fresno State. And they thought they were going to get a call to the Pac-12. Well, they did, but the Pac-12 isn't the Pac-12 anymore. They thought they were getting that call when SC and UCLA left to fill it out. That's when it was still Washington, Oregon, Cal, Stanford, Arizona State, Utah, and Colorado. But it's not. And so that league, but how many times have you read on social media some version of, well, at least we're not being dragged down by the bottom of the league? I've read bottom feeders, whatever you want, right? How many times have you read that on social media? So that's the narrative of those schools. And that's what they're telling you. And They're talking about you. I mean, they are. And Broncos said it on this show, and you all understand it. There is no argument over the last 2 decades of where you've been football-wise. That's why we're here, boys and girls. Like literally, that's why we're here. And so Broncos' point is not wrong. It's tenuous. Is this league good? Yeah, I mean, it's good for what it's been. Is it a power conference? It's not. Is it depleted with the loss of those schools? I don't think there's an argument that it is. It's like remember when BYU left? And there was a faction of the fans, good riddance. We don't want, like, there was no argument you're better off without BYU. There was no argument your league is better without BYU. None, right? And it's the same kind of concept now. There's no argument your league is better without San Diego State and Boise State.
It's not. It's not better. And there's a chance, and I think it is going to happen, where the Pac-12 is better, but it's not better like, oh my gosh, that's unattainable.
I think that's right.
Flips, and now they say, oh, the next best conference will be the Pac-12.
That's right. And there'll be years where, like, so now that's another conference that is competing for that 5th automatic qualifier. If you figure the SEC and the Big Ten are going to, in college football, every year going to have one of their champions going to be one of the highest rated champions. And if you figure the ACC and the Big 12 are getting the other 2. So now you're competing not only with the American and the Sun Belt and Conference USA, but you're competing with the Pac champion as well for that last automatic qualifier. Go beat them. Like, you're still going to schedule them all the time. You're going to schedule non-conference games with San Diego State or Boise State or Colorado State all the time. I think.
We'll see. They don't want you on the schedule.
Yeah, they ran away from you, huh? They're better than you. They're all
They're not
way
gonna
better
win those
than you.
games.
I guess there's nothing in them for them, huh? Mm-hmm. You know, why would they play them?
Yeah, so this absolutely not just a shift to swap places. Yeah, the Mountain West definitely slide down for a little bit until you find some consistency from these other football teams, because there's a reason that you did not get invited. Now, it was interesting to hear Bronco Mendenhall discuss the path ahead, and I think we're all on the same page. Is at some point in time they could circle back around.
Mm-hmm. We all understand.
They strike out.
Yep.
And then who do they circle back around to? Are you in that conversation? Is it UNLV and Nevada? Do they figure that out at the state level in Nevada? Sounds like that's one of the reasons why UNLV might not have been there initially. And then just quickly on this too, it was interesting. I saw this kind of got lost yesterday, of course, NFL Sunday, but Matt Brown, who does exceptional work covering college athletics with his Extra Points newsletter, he brought up that something to keep an eye on is he feels there's a sense that the power, Big Ten, SEC, Power 4 conferences might be talking to the Mountain West and Pac-12 and really pushing them not to add FBS program or FCS programs to the FBS.
And why is, I saw that. Why?
Money.
Just a bigger split?
Yeah.
But they're still going to get theirs. I mean, what does the Big Ten and the SEC care? And if you're the Mountain West, you're like, I got to survive, and my best way to survive is adding Montana State or Montana or North Dakota State.
You're going to give us the bottom of your league to
like honestly, I guess I don't understand it, because they're splitting the money conference-wise, not team-wise. And so it's just, I did see that, and it was interesting. Matt says on Bronco, maybe it's too late, but man, was he ever the right guy for this job at the right time. We need a steady and confident leadership. One thing I think is important to remember, no matter what happens with the Pac-12, this isn't and shouldn't be the end of UNM football. Sometimes we don't get what we want when we want, but things fall into place in their own time. If we end up, quote, left behind, end quote, the mission is the same, keep improving. And that's Broncos' forte. I really believe we will get there in the next 3 years. It's from Matt. I think so too. I just, what I've seen in 3 games, and really in the last 2, right, makes me believe that they're in the right. JJ, I watched a team up against Auburn in the first half that was not out physicaled, not out coached. Even though they were out athleted, it didn't look like they were out athleted. Does that make sense?
it's about hanging on, getting to the more manageable part of your schedule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, 505-246-0610. You can get in on what you heard from Bronco Mendenhall. You didn't. It'll be wherever you get your podcast. Reset. There's big news in the NFL this morning. Big injury news, and continue to take your phone calls at 505-246-0610. It is the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mir here. And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Adventure is leading the charge in the NIL space. And you can be part of it. You make my heart better. Try this shit better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets.
Dude, Mike Tomlin loves himself some Russell Wilson.
He sure does, doesn't he?
Football guys.
Justin Fields, the quarterback of the Steelers, said, quote, "I think we all know Russ kind of did dirty last year. So I know he wished he could have played today in this game, but it's awesome getting a win for him he got a petty game ball. That was his quote. So I guess Mike Tomlin routinely hands out that kind of game ball to players in games where they beat their former teams. A couple of practice squad guys, Brandon Johnson and Corliss Waitman, each spent time in Denver. They got petty game balls too. All right. Game balls are funny, man. I saw the video of Eddie Nunez in the locker room after Houston's victory over who'd Houston beat this weekend. But anyway, it was Coach Fritz's first victory, and Eddie was there. He's an unbelievable win. I'm like, unbelievable win. But it was his first win, and he gave out the game ball.
They beat Rice.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was good. I mean, it's a good win. Hey, look, man, getting your first one's a big one. Getting your first one is a big one. All right, that's your NFL news as it's coming this morning. I'm looking for more injury updates. I'm not getting a lot of them. I guess we'll get some a little bit later as we go on. But the big one is the Isaiah Pacheco stuff. Can we hit one more college note? Florida State. Did Mike Norvell get fired today? Like the buyout's like, what would I see, $63 million or something crazy like that?
No, he does not get fired today.
Okay, the Deion Sanders to
at some point in time, you don't have that money when you
right?
just let Jimbo Fisher go, or not? Jimbo,
No, they didn't. They didn't. That was Texas A&M.
Yeah, excuse me, but I don't know why I was pulling that far back. My bad. But just like
Well,
even because of the stuff they're having, the ongoing battles with the ACC, trying to get out, trying to move this and that around.
And they may have to pay a bunch.
You're
to get
0-3.
Yeah,
but as much money as you have, you don't have that to fire a coach, continue your legal battles with the
and
ACC,
hire a coach,
and just think that the SEC or Big Ten is going to immediately hand you a check to join their conference.
This was a top 10 team that was undefeated last year that was left out ever since they were left out of the playoff last year when their quarterback got hurt. They got blued out. What was it, 63-3 or whatever it was in their bowl game? And they've lost to Georgia Tech, and then Boston College, and then Memphis. Florida State became the first team in college football history to start the season top 10 and lose its first 3 games to unranked opponents. They get Cal next. And Cal may beat them. Cal handled San Diego State 31-10 last weekend. The week before, they won at Auburn. Cal looks nice, by the way. Have you watched any Cal? Did you see the Aztecs in Cal the other day?
They're okay.
They look nice. I mean, they went down and won at Auburn. Like that's as good a version of Cal as we've seen in a long time.
Got Auburn's quarterback bench.
They sure
that was another thing. A redshirt freshman making his first start.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that.
Super
right?
comfortable.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Hank Brown going 17 for 25, 235 yards and 4 touchdowns against the Lobos. That was we didn't get into that. I had a couple of Lobo people who were there in Auburn hit me Saturday. Hey, they're starting a freshman, a freshman quarterback. I'm like, all right. And in the first half, there you were right there with them. And then that freshman quarterback said, yeah, but I'm Auburn's freshman quarterback. And I got Auburn weapons, and I got Auburn's offensive line. And, yeah, Auburn was picked 10th in the SEC. And I don't know where they'll finish. I don't know how this thing plays out. I know the loss to Cal was really disappointing for their fan base. But I don't know. The Lobos win it. I thought played them well for the first half, and then I just asked Bronco, right? I said, was it depth and just size that wore you down? He said, yeah, right. Especially their offensive line, and you could tell the second half their offensive line was pushing you 5 yards back.
Hey, you had the senior running back Chris Hunter started chunk plays, but the thing that's just so frustrating is how comfortable opposing quarterbacks look. Like there's zero worry. They're like they're not touching me. There's not a blitz coming. Yeah. I'm not gonna be under pressure.
Yep. And I know that's a concern for the Lobos defensively. All right, I want to hit one other thing, and I grazed on this earlier. I want to go back to the NFL for a second. Chiefs and Bengals game, JJ. The end of that game, back towards the end of the game, Bengals star receiver Jamar Chase was penalized for unsportsmanlike conduct. This was in the fourth quarter, and this was big. And I go back to it. Chase was tackled, and I don't know if he was right or wrong. I didn't see enough of the replay. It was a 4-yard gain. It would have given Cincinnati 3rd and 7 at the Kansas City's 30-yard line. Okay, and then this was late in the game. Jamar Chase complained that it should have been, I think he said, face mask. Joe Burrow comes, pulls him away. Chase kept chirping. They throw a flag. Instead of 3rd and 7 at the 30, they get a 15-yard penalty. Now it's 3rd and 22 back at the 45-yard line. Burrow throws, gets him back in field goal range. They get a field goal. But 3rd and 7, JJ, if they convert on that 3rd and 7, let's just say they run the same play, and you don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea. But instead of just trying to get back in field goal range, they could have gone for that drive continues. If they score a touchdown there, I think they win the football game. They lost by a point. Jamar went after him, and look, Jamar's been disgruntled. He wants his contract. Quarterback tries to pull him away. They threw a flag. The referee who threw the flag is named Alex Kemp, and they did a pool report after the game. And he said that Chase believed that he was taken down by Trent McDuffie with a hip drop tackle. And we got to get into that with Joe Mixon, too. The referee said Chase's question in the play led to an exchange that produced what he called abusive language that went far beyond any dissent over a perceived miscall. This is the quote from the official about why he threw the flag. Quote, the simple answer is profanity used by grown men versus direct, personal, abusive language toward a game official. That's the line. When the line gets crossed, we simply can't let that happen in pro football, end quote. So basically, you can use profanity. This is the old man. You can tell me that was a bleep call, but when you tell me I'm a bleep, that's when you've crossed the line, right?
Yes.
And that sounds like what happened here. I can make an argument. Jamar Chase cost his team the football game.
Yes, you can. Penalty in a critical situation.
You can't have that. And I don't know if dude's trying to make a point. I don't know if dude is still upset about his contract. I don't know but how do you not know in that? Like, I get it, you're hot. And you feel that he could have injured you. You also, don't you have to know situation? That's unacceptable, man. Like, you watch so many things that happen. Like the Will Levis turnover is unacceptable, especially after what he did last week. What Jamar Chase did right there to potentially, and I believe invariably, cost his team a football game is unacceptable. Now, what does that mean, unacceptable? What are you going to do? You're going to bench him? Because he didn't even take him out because he's Jamar Chase, and now it was 3rd and 22, and I need my best weapon on the field. So he didn't even take him out for a play. I don't know. What did you think in the moment? Did you think he was just out of control and excessive?
When you re-look at it, across that line, you can't do it. Like, you just can't. It's easy to say after the fact, and it's easy to say in the moment. When you want to be an alpha on that team, you want to be the face of that franchise, you can't get a penalty like that. That then the trickle-down effect is it's a moment you can look back on and say, oh, that cost your team the game.
I mean, it did. All right, let me give you one other really, really crazy thing. So I've given you...
But you mentioned the Titans real quick. And
yeah. Yeah.
How do we feel about Brian Callahan? Because that's 2 weeks in a row. He has absolutely dropped an anvil on his quarterback. And we all see the mistakes that Will Levis
What did he say
made.
yesterday?
So yesterday, he said, quote, it was dumb. It was the same exact thing he did last week. He's a grown-up and he knows better. I was really irritated that he cost us 3 points. Like, that's what fans are saying.
Yeah.
But that is also on the back of him last week saying they would have been better off punting on first of 10 than playing the football game. Like, he's keeping it real, but that is a head coach just destroying
There's
quarterback.
part of you that loves it and part of you that says, what are you doing? You're destroying your young quarterback. But JJ, Will Levis has to know better.
Like, we all saw it.
Yeah.
The team feels that way.
So is it going to be better for him to say, well, he's a young quarterback? And what do you want him to say? Like, I hear you, and he's throwing his quarterback under the bus instead of protecting him. But I mean,
like, he's lucky it's the Titans.
And not a team that people care about?
Because these are the hot take of hot takes that you tune in to see if Jeff says that in the morning. If your favorite talking heads on TV say that. This comes from the head coach.
Well, yeah. I got one more when we come back. I got an unbelievable number for you. So I've given you 2 streaks that got stopped. The Raiders winning for the first time in 49 games where they were trailing by double digits or more going in the fourth quarter. The Rams had beaten Arizona in Arizona 9 straight times. That got stopped. I got something that has never happened in the history of the NFL that happened yesterday. I'll give you that when we come back. But first, I want to tell you about On the Spot Automotive Detailing, because they will come out and detail your vehicle. It is that fall time. You're going to be out in the car a lot. You got people coming to town for Balloon Fiesta. You're going on roadies. You got a vehicle that looks and smells. Well, I mean, you're in it. Look around. Can I suggest you call On the Spot Automotive Detailing? Have them come out and detail your vehicle. Take care of one of your biggest investments. You're going to tell me I don't have time, and I'm going to tell you don't need time. They come to you where it works for you, when it works for you, when it's convenient. That means whilst you're in the office, they're in the parking lot. Whilst you're at home, they're in the driveway. They will detail your vehicle with their mobile unit, and when they're done, it looks and smells and feels like the day you took it off the lot. They aren't just detailing. They're ceramic coating. They're protective film. They're window tinting. Anything that enhances and protects your vehicle. That's what On the Spot Automotive Detailing does. And they're the best in the city. They were awarded best in the city because they are the best in the city. It's a great gift as well as you're getting into that gift-giving season. Call them, schedule an appointment, 505-859-2859. 505-859-2859. Or you can book and buy online at otsdetailing.com.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. Our law firm was founded by my father, Thibaut J. Chavez, with one goal: to get New Mexicans the help they need. That's why we built a different kind of law firm. We focus on family values, dedicated service, and we make a real contribution by giving back to our communities. We can't change what happened to you or your loved ones, but we can help you get back on the road to recovery. We're by your side, and we're still as local as red and green.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
for doing more. But people weren't designed for all that doing. Our bodies need to settle into nothing from time to time. Into nothing at all. In a world obsessed with doing more, we invite you to undo.
The Saints beating the tar out of the Cowboys was crazy. Raiders going into the Ravens and winning the way they did. And I've given you a couple of streak busters. The Ravens lost. So the Raiders were down by 10 going into the fourth quarter. It's the first time in 49 instances where the Raiders were down by double digits going into the fourth quarter and they won. Rams had beaten the Cardinals in Arizona 9 straight times. So, JJ, and this one game we've not talked about because it wasn't even that talk-aboutable. But the Commanders win 21-18. Commanders kicked 7 field goals. The Giants didn't because their kicker was out. Graham Gano was out, so they couldn't even kick field goals or extra points, which cost them the game. JJ, according to whoever recorded, I don't probably, ESPN data or what's the place that does the obscure stats, research stats for baseball? The game between the Giants were the first team ever in the NFL to score 3 touchdowns, not allow a touchdown, and lose in regulation in the history of the NFL. Let me give that to you again. The Giants lost 21-18.
Regulation. That changed it.
They were the Giants were the first team in the history of the NFL to score 3 touchdowns, not allow a touchdown, and lose in regulation. They gave up 7 field goals, lost 21-18.
So they were the second ever team to lose that way.
Who was the first?
I don't know the first, but the stat to add on to that was in NFL history. 3 touchdowns with 0 touchdowns given up. Teams are 1,294 and 2.
And I think this is the only one in regulation. That's what I just saw. It's insanity. I mean, it just doesn't happen. But you didn't have a kicker and you can kick extra points. All right, before we get, a couple of college things we didn't get to. Georgia State beat Diego Pavia's Vanderbilt team this weekend, and there were a number of group of fives, but and Diego was 18 for 33, 270 yards, 2 touchdowns. He ran for 40 yards. The Georgia State wins 36-32. And they were up big going into the fourth quarter. It was 22-10 Georgia State. This was down in Atlanta. So Vanderbilt does not go 2-1. They are 3-0. They end up 2-1. Georgia State, with their one loss at Georgia Tech, is 2-1. But I think what was even more impressive when you look at some of the games. Did you watch UNLV on Friday night? That is a huge win for the Mountain West Conference.
That quarterback out of the pocket, man, in the run game. Really good for the Rebels.
First of all, that was an all-uniform game. The grays that UNLV was wearing and the blacks that Kansas was wearing. Somebody said, I don't know who the hell's playing. I hate these uniforms. No, man, I thought that was smoke. I loved the all-uniforms. But more than that, UNLV is a contender for that group of 5. If they can win the league. UNLV is beating now Houston on the road and Kansas on the road. They are 3-0. They're off this week, and then they get Fresno State at home, and they get another autonomous 5. They get Syracuse at home. Boise State's not. Oh, they are on the schedule. Boise State is on the schedule. Wow, they got to run, dude. Let's not anoint them yet. But I'm going to tell you, if they get through this gauntlet, they're it. Because the schedule, if they play 3 autonomous 5s, Houston, Kansas, Syracuse. What do you call Oregon State? Right? An autonomous independent? Right? And then Boise State. So they got a run where they get Oregon State and Boise State back to back. They're nice, dude. They're really,
they'll have a chance if they're that good to maybe even get one back in a Mountain West title game.
Well, But then they're going to have to, then it's how they're going to compare to a Northern Illinois or a Georgia State, let's say, or a whomever, right? Memphis just got a nice win. I just gave you Memphis beat Florida State. No. Mountain West this week. I gave you Kansas. UNLV winning at Kansas.
Is that really a nice one anymore?
Let's see. I mean,
beating Florida
that's
State.
a really good point, though. No, how's that going to equate? It's going to be in mind of 12 people sitting around a table,
Houston,
right?
It's like, okay.
It's going to be in the mind of 12 people sitting around a table, isn't it?
If Northern Illinois can win a conference championship, they have the most impactful non-conference.
Yes.
If it becomes
at Notre Dame
that close, and you're like, oh, how are we going to rank these teams?
Did you see how Notre Dame responded, beat Purdue? Oh, beat the tar out of
They were playing the backups in the third quarter.
I know. Utah State lost at home 38-21 to Utah. Nevada got shut out by Minnesota 27-0. San Jose State beat Conference USA newbie Kennesaw State 31-10. Hawaii lost at Sam Houston 31-13. Baylor beat Air Force 31-3. Colorado State lost at home to Colorado 28-9. Wyoming got handled. They have no offense either. They lost at home 34-14 to BYU. San Diego State out of conference lost to Cal 31-10. And Fresno State pounded New Mexico State 48-0. Not a good week for the Mountain West out of conference. Thank you to Bronco Mendenhall. He was with us today. If you want to hear that again or didn't hear it, I suggest you get over to our website, sportsanimalabq.com. It was a good listen today. Always is with Bronco. Jim Rome Show is next. The Herd with Colin Cowards after that. 2 Men On is here at 4. And then we're back tomorrow morning with award-winning radio. We will start at 7 a.m. Adrian looks great on the visual side. Thank you. Big day for you.
Huge day.
Enjoy it. Be good to each other, boys and girls. Tony Sanchez at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, New Mexico State's head coach. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. We'll smell you tomorrow.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families.